My brother-in-law showed up unannounced and took over my garage, my tools, even my dog's bed. When I spoke up, he said, "You're just the guy she settled for." My wife laughed. That night, I slept in a motel with $12 in my account. I said nothing for 5 months, until I took back everything in one silent move. I'm 41. Been living in Spokane, Washington most of my life. I'm a licensed electrician, union guy. Don't make a ton, but I've always worked hard, paid my bills, stayed quiet. I don't have a fancy life, but I built something solid. I bought my house in 2015, before I met Carly. It was a fixer-upper when I got it. Leaky roof, busted wiring, cracked concrete in the driveway. I spent my weekends fixing it up room by room. By the time I met Carly, I had redone everything. It wasn't huge, but it was clean, warm, and mine. Carly was smart, confident, beautiful. A little cold sometimes, but I thought maybe that was just how she grew up. Her family had money. Mine didn't. I worked out of a truck her dad owned 4. I always felt a little out of place around them. But I loved her. I thought she loved me too. We got married in 2017. She moved into my house. I made her a little garden bed out back. She cried when I built it. Said no one had ever done something just for her. That was probably the happiest I ever saw her. Things started to shift during the pandemic. She got more distant, short with me. She started working from home and spent a lot of time on Zoom calls. After a while, she closed the door while I was still talking to her. I blamed stress. Then Adam showed up. The arrival, it was October last year. I came home from work and his rental truck was in the driveway. I figured he was just visiting. He was Carly's younger brother, lived in Arizona. I'd only met him twice before. Cocky, flashy, loud. He always had a new scheme. Crypto, drop shipping, running an online poker club. He talked about breaking free from the 9 to 5. Said guys like me were wage slaves. He was the kind of guy who wore sunglasses inside and thought quoting Joe Rogan made him smart. I walked into my kitchen and there he was, shirtless, drinking one of my beers, talking on speakerphone like he owned the place. Carly gave me a kiss on the cheek and said, "Adam's gonna stay for a bit, just until things settle down." What things? She waved it off. He just needs some space. I didn't like it, but I bit my tongue. The garage was mine. Always had been. I built a full workbench, had every tool in its place, extension cords wrapped just so, the floor swept every Saturday. It was the one space that was just mine. My piece. Adam took it over within days. First, it was small stuff. He used my drill, left it unplugged. Then I found my torque wrench lying in a pile of sawdust. Then he unplugged my shop heater and set up a Bluetooth speaker blasting EDM while he worked out shirtless in the middle of the room. I asked him, nicely at first, not to touch my tools. He shrugged. "Relax, man. Tools are meant to be used." That night, I found my grinder blade missing. I said something to Carly. She said I was being territorial. Territorial? About the garage I built with my own hands? It got worse. By week 2, Adam had rearranged the pegboard wall. My screwdrivers were hanging by the blades, my sockets jumbled in a toolbox like trash. I asked again. He smirked. "What's the big deal, dude? You act like this is your castle or something." I said, "It kind of is." Then he said it. "Nah, this is Carly's house now. You're just the guy she settled for." I froze. I looked at Carly, who was standing in the doorway with a glass of wine. She didn't look shocked. She didn't even look mad. She laughed. She laughed like it was the funniest thing she'd heard in weeks. I went inside without saying another word. Took Hank's leash off the hook. My old black lab, loyal as ever, was already waiting at the door. We drove to a cheap motel near the highway. It smelled like old smoke. I paid cash. I had $12 left in my account after that. I sat on the bed with Hank, staring at the wall, heart pounding like a hammer. That was the night something inside me cracked. The slow burn I didn't leave. I came back the next morning. Same as usual. Not because I forgave them. Not because I was weak. Because I wanted time. From that point on, I lived like a ghost in my own house. Carly stopped talking to me unless it was about bills. Adam walked around shirtless, ate my food, used my Wi-Fi, watched TV loud at 2 a.m. He brought in girls sometimes, loud and drunk, like it was a frat house. I didn't fight it. I started working longer hours. Picked up side jobs. Basement rewires, outdoor lighting setups, anything that paid. Every dollar I didn't need for bills, I put in a new account. I opened a storage unit 2 towns over. Started moving things little by little. My miter saw, my compressor, my dad's fishing rods. The good stuff. I found an old trailer on Craigslist. Guy was gonna scrap it. I bought it for $600. Hauled it to my buddy Dave's land up in Maine. Told him I was just messing around with a weekend project. He shrugged. No questions. I rebuilt that trailer from the inside out. New insulation. Wired up outlets. Installed a cot, a battery bank, solar. Made it livable. Hank's new bed went in the corner. Every Sunday, I loaded more of my life into that trailer. Carly didn't ask. Adam never noticed. They thought I was disappearing. They didn't know I was preparing. The next step, I started tracking Carly's girls' nights. Thursdays, mostly. Said she was seeing friends from work. Always dressed a little too nice for a casual hangout. I didn't accuse. I didn't argue. I just waited until she left. Then I placed a GPS tracker under her back bumper. Took 2 minutes. Within 3 weeks, I had a full log of where she went. Not restaurants. Not friends' houses. Just one address, over and over. A condo near Gonzaga University. Belonged to Derek. Her ex. The one she never loved, according to her. That was all I needed. I called a lawyer. She said, don't tell them anything. Not yet. So I didn't. For the next 2 months, I gathered everything. Financial records. Screenshots. Even pictures of Adam using my tools to film fitness videos. I took videos of him calling me names while drunk. Once, I got a recording of him saying, Carly deserves better than that weak loser. Carly laughed again. That laugh stuck in my brain like a nail. That laugh built my revenge. It was around late March when Carly started getting bolder. I'd come home from work and she wouldn't even bother pretending she was out with friends anymore. She'd get home at 2 a.m. wearing tight dresses and heavy perfume, stumbling through the kitchen, heels in one hand, a smirk on her face. She didn't say where she was. She didn't have to. I stopped asking. One night, I came home early from a job. She wasn't expecting me. She was sitting on the couch with Adam. He was stretched out, no shirt, a beer in his hand. Her legs were in his lap. They both froze when I walked in. Carly yanked her legs back like a teenager caught doing something wrong. Adam didn't move. I didn't say a word. I just grabbed Hank's leash and walked right back out the front door. 2 days later, I took a half-day off work, called in a favor from a buddy who worked in IT, and got access to the house Wi-Fi router logs. Don't ask me how. Just know that I saw everything. Turns out Adam was more than just a parasite. He was also using our internet to run some kind of OnlyFans-type subscription account. Except it wasn't just him. It was him and Carly. Together. He'd been filming her in the garage, in the guest room, even in my own damn bed when I was working weekends. I didn't throw up. I didn't scream. I didn't even shake. I just started printing. Everything. Screenshots. IP addresses. Timestamp logs. Payments. All of it. My lawyer said, we've got enough now. You ready? Not yet, I said. The setup, I waited 2 more weeks. During that time, I made myself even smaller. Didn't talk. Didn't push back. Let them think they'd broken me. Carly made fun of me to my face. One morning, she said, you used to be a man. Now you're just here. Adam added, like furniture. Except less useful. I looked at them both and nodded like I agreed. That night, I moved the last of my things out. My important paperwork. The deed to the house. It was still in my name only. The backup keys to the truck. My wedding ring, which I dropped in the trash on my way out. Then I parked my trailer in the woods behind Dave's property and waited. The bomb drops first thing Monday morning. My lawyer filed everything. Divorce. Emergency motion for asset freeze. Subpoena for Carly's bank accounts and online activity. Proof of adultery. Unauthorized use of marital property for income. Illegal content creation without consent inside a shared residence. And finally, an eviction notice for Adam. The house was still legally mine. Everything was done behind closed doors. Silent. Clean. She didn't even know it happened until the sheriff showed up on a Friday afternoon and handed her the papers in person. From what my neighbor told me, she collapsed on the porch crying. Adam got cuffed that same night for an outstanding bench warrant in Arizona. Turns out, the business he ran had a few dirty corners. And when the cops ran his ID after the subpoena, his name popped up on an open fraud case. I wasn't even in town when it all came crashing down. I was in the trailer, cooking bacon, feeding Hank, watching the trees sway. where it's headed next. I know I'm not done yet. There's more mess to sort through. More conflict ahead. Carly still thinks she can come after my pension. She hired some slick lawyer trying to paint me as unstable and controlling. They're trying to make it look like I abandoned her. That she didn't cheat, that Adam was just staying there temporarily and helping her cope. But I have texts, audio, video, receipts for everything they touched, everything they ruined. I haven't unleashed all of it yet, but I will. And when I do, she'll wish I had screamed. Because the silence is where I do my best work. After the sheriff handed Carly the divorce papers and Adam got hauled off, I thought I'd feel something, relief, maybe. Closure. But all I felt was numb. That numbness turned out to be useful. It kept me focused. While Adam sat in a holding cell and Carly scrambled to find a lawyer who would take her side without payment up front, I kept building my case. Quietly. My lawyer told me not to talk to her. So I didn't. But she talked plenty. The texts started coming in. Carly. I didn't know about the OnlyFans stuff, I swear. Adam pressured me. He said we needed money. Can we talk? Please. Not everything was real. Some of it was for attention. She sent a photo of her crying. I didn't respond. 3 days later, I got an email from her lawyer. They were demanding half the house sale, spousal support, and emotional compensation for the abandonment and embarrassment I caused her. That's when I decided it was time to twist the knife. The financial trap back when we were still okay. Carly had begged me to co-sign a credit card for her. Just for emergencies. What she really meant was online shopping. What she didn't know was that after we started drifting apart, I called the credit company and asked to be removed as a co-signer. Legally, she could keep using the card, but only in her own name. And she did. Thousands of dollars over the limit. All under her name. Trips to spa resorts in Coeur d'Alene, online lingerie boutiques, VIP club charges, all while she claimed to be working late. I passed all that to my lawyer. Then I called the fraud department and filed a complaint for unauthorized use of property. 1 week later, her card was frozen. So was her checking account. She couldn't even pay her own retainer. Her lawyer dropped her. That's when she showed up at Dave's property. I don't know how she found me. Maybe someone from town saw my trailer parked back there. Maybe she tracked my truck. She pulled up at 8 p.m. in her beat-up Honda and just stood there crying like she was in a movie. I stepped outside, stood on the gravel, and let her talk. You didn't even give me a chance, she said. You just left. I said nothing. She looked around at the trailer, at the pine trees, at Hank lying peacefully by the fire pit. This is your big revenge? Living like a hermit in the woods? Still, I said nothing. Then she screamed. You think you're better than me? You're just a coward who couldn't handle the truth. I waited until she got it all out. Then I said 5 words. I already handled the truth. And I turned and walked back inside. The Adam file. A week later, I got an unexpected message on my backup email, the one only my lawyer and bank had. It was from a woman named Elise. Said she was Adam's ex from Arizona. She saw the name of my town pop up on a court notice in Phoenix and Googled me. Turns out Adam had done this before. Not with a sister, thank God, but with another woman's marriage. Elise told me Adam had lived with her and her husband for a while, then slowly seduced her, borrowed money, and vanished. She lost her house. Her husband left her. Adam skipped town before charges could stick. She sent me pictures, emails, even an old police report. I asked my lawyer what we could do. He smiled. Now it's not just divorce. Now it's civil. We filed a civil suit against Adam, fraud, defamation, unauthorized use of property, and unlawful occupancy. Since I had texts from him saying, Carly and I are going to take this house from that idiot, and screenshots of him using my garage to promote his brand, we had enough to move forward. And since he'd used Carly's OnlyFans account to run a paid adult site inside a shared home without consent or permit, we had him for profit from illegal business activity too. If the DA picks it up, it could go criminal. He made bail 2 weeks after the arrest, then vanished. Typical. But he can't run forever. And every time he posts online, we're watching. Meanwhile, Carly tried to play victim again. Her last message said, please. I was confused. He manipulated me. We can fix this. Remember when you built me that garden bed? You loved me then. I didn't reply. But the next day, I drove to the house we used to live in, now empty, just waiting to be sold. I dug out that old garden bed with my bare hands, tore it apart plank by plank. I left the dirt in a pile in the driveway. The neighbors watched from behind curtains. I didn't care. I loaded the planks into my truck and drove back to the trailer. I plan to burn them soon. Not yet, though. First, I'm finishing the final phase. Because while Carly and Adam thought I was crawling away to hide, I was planning something they never expected. And the final part is still coming. After Carly's last message, the one about the garden bed, I expected her to stay quiet for a while. But she didn't. She came back. Not just to cry, not just to beg. This time, she brought her parents. They showed up at the house unannounced while I was there finalizing some paperwork with the real estate agent. I had Hank in the truck, the agent inside doing pictures for the listing, and I was just sweeping out the garage for the last time. Her dad, Ron, came stomping across the driveway like he still owned the world. He never liked me, not even a little. Thought I was blue-collar trash who tricked his daughter into settling for less. "You got some nerve, son," he barked. I leaned against the broom and didn't say anything. "You drag my daughter through the mud. File some slimy court motion. Get that sheriff involved. Then you sue her brother? You think you're going to come out clean?" Still, I said nothing. Carly was standing there with her mom, arms crossed, sunglasses on, like she was showing up for court instead of a conversation. "You embarrassed her," her mom chimed in. "You made her look like some streetwalker." "She did that herself," I finally said. Ron turned red. "You watch your mouth." The real estate agent stepped out just then, wide-eyed, awkward. I told her I'd follow up later and asked her to give us the space. She nodded and left without a word. Then I looked Ron in the eye and said what I'd been holding in for months. "Your daughter cheated on me. In my house. With your son. They filmed it. They sold it. She stole from me, lied to me, and laughed in my face." He blinked. "That's not true," Carly said quickly. "He's twisting it." I pulled out the folder from my truck. The one I kept close. The one with the printed photos, bank logs, chat screenshots. I opened it, just enough to show a glimpse. Just enough for Ron to see her face in one of the images. He looked down, then back at her, and said nothing. For once, Ron had nothing to say. Carly spun on her heels and stormed off. Her mother followed. Ron stood there a little longer. He looked at me like a man who'd just learned his house was built on sand. Then he walked away too. Meanwhile, Adam had disappeared for weeks. I kept an eye on his online presence through a dummy account. At first, he tried to play victim. Posted vague quotes like, "Some people are afraid of strong men, and real alphas always rise." Nobody cared. He made a few live streams trying to rally support, talking about how I overreacted, how Carly was brainwashed by a bitter ex. But no one believed him. Eventually, he slipped up. He tried to launch a new channel under a different name. Didn't matter. The civil case was still live. We got the video content taken down through copyright strikes. Got his PayPal account frozen. We filed with every site hosting his garbage. He tried to message me through a burner account, saying, "Let's just talk man to man." I didn't reply. I sent it to my lawyer. The house sold faster than I thought it would. The market was tight, and all the renovations I'd done made it move fast. I got the check deposited right into my private account. Carly was legally entitled to a portion, but because of the civil countersuit, the final amount had to go through court. It's tied up in that now. And until it's resolved, she doesn't get a cent. She tried to get an emergency motion for funds, claimed she was destitute. We sent the court a video of her on Instagram 2 weeks earlier, popping champagne in a rented Airbnb with girlfriends. Motion denied. She fired her new lawyer the next day. The final setup, there's one more piece in place. Remember the trailer? It wasn't just for survival. It was proof. Proof that I didn't abandon the house. I chose to de-escalate. Proof that I was self-sufficient, stable, and smart enough to handle what was coming. That matters in court. It also gave me space to think. Time to build something more important than revenge. I started writing it all down. Every detail. Every lie. Every betrayal. At first, I thought it was just therapy. But now I'm turning it into something else. Something public. I've got a close friend who runs a podcast and YouTube channel for people recovering from toxic relationships and legal abuse. I told him my story. He said, This is gonna blow up. I told him he can go public with it once the final judgment comes down. I want the whole truth out there. Not just to clear my name, but so that Carly and Adam can never hide from what they did. Not in court. Not online. Not ever. I'm almost at the end. Almost. But there's one last thing I have to do. And when I do it, they'll both learn what it feels like to lose everything they laughed at. The final court hearing was set for a Thursday morning in late May. Sunny, quiet, not a cloud in the sky. I walked in wearing my cleanest pair of jeans, a tucked-in button-up, and the same boots I'd worn when I first built that garage. Carly sat across from me, alone. No lawyer. She was representing herself. Her third lawyer had dropped her a week earlier after she missed a payment and showed up drunk to a prep meeting. She looked tired, pale, like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. Her hair was tangled, makeup half-finished, like she'd rushed out the door. The judge didn't waste time. He went over every motion, every piece of evidence. It wasn't even close. The judge had seen the texts, the videos, the receipts. He reviewed the bank accounts, the cheating, the unauthorized business, the adult content, the way I'd handled myself, and how she'd handled hers. Then he spoke. "This court finds in favor of the petitioner," he said. That was me. Due to evidence of marital misconduct, misuse of shared property, and repeated financial deception, the respondent forfeits claim to joint assets, including proceeds from the sale of the home. He paused. Furthermore, this court finds the civil suit against Mr. Adam, last name, to be valid. Damages will be awarded based on proven theft, fraud, and unlawful profit gained from misuse of petitioner's private property. Carly didn't cry. She just slumped, like someone had cut the strings on her. It was over. What she lost, she got nothing from the house. Nothing from the accounts. Her personal credit cards were maxed out. Her car was still leased under her name, but she'd missed 2 payments during the court case. The bank repossessed it 3 weeks after the hearing. She moved back in with her parents. Her relationship with them? Not good. Ron never spoke to me again, but I heard through the grapevine that he had kicked Carly out within a month. Said she ruined the family name. She's now living in a small apartment on the edge of town, working at a call center. No car. No money. No friends. As for Adam, he was arrested again in California. He violated the conditions of his bail by trying to start another adult business under a fake name. Someone online recognized him from one of the old videos that slipped through before the takedowns, and they reported it. He's now facing charges for fraud, indecent content distribution, and identity theft. He's sitting in a county jail waiting for extradition. What I did next after the court case ended, I didn't throw a party. I didn't buy a new truck or run off to some tropical island. I drove back to my trailer, took Hank for a walk in the woods, and watched the sunset. Then I took the old planks from the garden bed Carly once cried over, the ones I ripped out, and built something new with them. I made a raised bed near my trailer. Not for vegetables. For wildflowers. Just a small patch. Simple. Quiet. I named it the clearing. Every time I walk by it, I remember everything I lost and everything I got back. But I didn't stop there. I let my friend publish the story. He released it as a podcast episode and a YouTube video titled, "He Took His Garage Back, Then Took Everything." It hit 1 million views in a week. People came out of the woodwork. Men and women. Some going through the same pain, the same betrayal. They thanked me. They said it helped them feel seen. I wasn't expecting that. But maybe that's what all this was really about. Not just revenge. Reclaiming something. My voice. My life. My peace. One last twist. 2 months after the final hearing, I got an email. From Carly. The subject line said, "I'm sorry. I didn't open it. I deleted it. Because she's no longer part of my story. Not anymore. Now I still live in the trailer, but I'm building something bigger behind it. A real workshop. Solar-powered, with stove, all my tools in a new spot. Where no one else can touch them. Hank's getting older, but he still follows me everywhere. Still lays next to my chair at night. Sometimes people ask me if I miss the old life. The house, the marriage, the normal routine. I don't. Because the truth is, when someone invades your space, your mind, your heart, and laughs about it, you have 2 choices: break or rebuild. I rebuilt. And now? Now I live free. And I made damn sure they can't say the same.